Hey everybody. So this week we're going to continue on with our Roaring Twenties unit. There are going to be a couple of new activities. So reminder, last week was looking over the textbook and the slides, and then also you had a pre-test and then these two little reading quizzes over the information that we've covered so far. This week, we're going to go a little more in depth with some of these topics. And so there will be a Roaring Twenties DBQ and an activity over the Scopes monkey trial. And so what that's going to look like when you click on the Roaring Twenties DBQ and you open it up, it's going to tell you to make a copy of it, like always, answer the questions, and it does say complete the 2-paragraph response at the end, and then you're going to turn it back in for a grade. This is kind of a big one. It is worth quite a few points. So when you open it up, sorry, let me move my screen here just a little bit. So what you're going to see is primary sources from this time period. And so what it's going to ask you to do is look at these primary sources and then either fill in the chart or answer the questions to make sure that you're analyzing the information in order to be able to come up with that written response at the end. So it is crucial that you take your time, look at everything with, very observing eyes, make sure that you're actually trying to contemplate why this information is relevant to the 1920s in order to come up with your written response at the end. So for instance, this first one is a graph of the households with electricity during this given, period of time. So down at the bottom, you can see how it spans over an 8-year course of time. Sorry, that is our bell here at school in the background. And so it's asking you to make observations and inferences about this chart or graph. And then it's going to ask you some analysis questions over the chart or graph. Then these down here, if you notice, what does this tell us about consumer culture? These blue links are all hyperlinks. So when you click on them, it gives you an article to read over those particular topics. I have gone through them. They should be able to open up on your end. If you do come across one that is blocked, please email me and I'll do my best to unblock it for you in a timely manner. Then it talks about different things that were available back then and ask you some analysis questions again about it. There's a primary source. This one comes from a letter. It tells you when and where and why. Then there's questions about it as well. Once again, you're going to get down here to advertisements. There's our bell again here at school. So when you open it, this one happens to be a little video clip. If you get down here like the Model T, if you open it up, it's going to just be a bookmark, an article about the Model T. So some of them are videos, some of them are just little short little summaries about them. And it asks you to analyze different things about that particular product. Then you have some actual photos of advertisements for different products. Right? And then when you get down to the bottom, this is what I'm asking you for. So yes, I need you to fill in the blanks to the questions charts above, but I need 2 well-written paragraphs. You are honor students. You can come up with 2 paragraphs. I'm taking all the information that you've looked at, and I'm telling you within your first paragraph, explain the answers to these questions. In the second paragraph, answer that question, right? So I've even given you some guidance, so it's not just 2 any old paragraphs. I've told you in the first one, this is what I need you to answer, and then in the second paragraph, this is what I'm needing you to answer. You can just click below this area and just type your response, and that's where I will look for it when I go to grade it. So overall, what normally happens in a typical classroom setting, obviously you're virtual, so it's not typical, but this takes us about a day and a half to complete. So it takes about a day for them to work through all the evidence, fill in the chart. So that's one class period of about 45 to 50 minutes. And then I usually give them another half class period in order to take that information and to type their 2 paragraphs. So you're looking at about 20-ish minutes to come up with 10 to 12 sentence response, right? So for you guys, it should take you about 2 days. So this is looking like your Tuesday and Wednesday coming up with responses to these things. The second thing for the week is the Scopes monkey trial questions. So as you read through, the Scopes monkey trial was one of those premier court cases that changed a lot of our history. We come back to it again and again. And so you have a little summary. Also, it should already been in your notes. So if you went through the PowerPoint and the textbook like I requested last week, the Scopes monkey trial shouldn't be anything new to you. That's all information, the basics of it that you already should have down, right? And I had some video clips over it embedded and as well. So when you open it up, it's giving you a little bit more of the text-based information off of it. And then I'm asking you to answer questions as well. Here are different letters that have been sent back in the day, different people's opinions on it, what people thought, and then there are guiding questions below. So it's referring back. So go back to document A, answer these questions, document B, answer these questions. So I'm really asking you to dive into the text and the public reaction during the 1920s to the Scopes monkey trial, and to really dive in and analyze how this affected communities and overall the United States during this time period. And also think about, like, how does that apply to today in 2022, right? So some of the things from back then, can we see them play out again about 100 years later? Maybe not obviously on the same topic, right, about evolution, but can we see this in education today, 100 years later, some of the same things that are happening? So just trying to do some critical thinking, deep thinking, history repeats itself. Are we seeing that back again? Just good food for thought, good discussions have with, your parents, in their lifetime, have they seen anything? Do they see a connection as well? That might be some good discussion to bring up as home. Good. All right. I think that I've entered grades. I did get back the notes from World War I. They got sent over, so those will be entered this week. If you did not give your paper notes, turn them into Mrs. Williams or whoever you turn them into to get sent over, please do that. Mrs. Williams will send them over. Mr. Kaiser will send them over so I can get those put in this week. If you see a huge problem on PowerSchool, please let me know. I would love to get those fixed for you as well as we wind down, the end of the year. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. I don't want any glaring errors, at the end of the year as far as grades go. Have a great week. Let me know if you have any problems. Thanks.